and welcome to our live SAP ERP Sim Competition for 2021. Welcome, I'm Sarah Lockett. I'll introduce my two co-hosts in a second. So it is an afternoon of fun, friendly rivalry, a fantastic prize, maybe a little bit of fear, and also a flush of excitement as you play this game. So we are using the latest cloud ERP as part of the wider Intelligent Enterprise suite from SAP using S/4HANA. So we have 20 teams who are joining us today from across Europe. So hello to all of you. Give us a wave on Zoom if you can. We have a few of them there giving us a wave. We're going to see all of you during the course of this particular game. So let me introduce who I have with me. First of all, we have Ray Barrett next to me, Head of SAP Centre of Excellence for S/4HANA Cloud, EMEA North. So welcome.
Hi, Sarah.
We are going to go through all the rules and regulations and what we're doing in a second. But first of all, what can people expect?
Oh, what can they expect? Well, excitement. But moreover, they can expect the unexpected.
Oh,
all right. And they've got to work as a team. And being a team, and rather than working alone, is the name of the game. And with ERP, I think a lot of people know about ERP. Mistakes can happen, and you've got to work out how they can be overcome. We've introduced the bots, the automation team. Yeah, that is the future. It's not removing people's roles, but it's making sure that the non-value-added tasks are really enabled to make things more efficient. So,
fantastic. We really look forward to it. Now, the other person in the studio with me here today is, of course, Mo Lair, pre-sales expert with S/4HANA Cloud. So what do you think is going to be the level of competitiveness today? You are both in your football shirts, of course. Have you heard that people have really been building themselves up for this, do you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a very competitive game. So I would say, as Ray said, teamwork is key here. So great communication, of course, being able to adjust your strategy on the fly amongst the different personas that you'll be playing out throughout the game.
That's it. You've also got to decide what level you're pitching your product at, haven't you?
Exactly.
Are you cheap and cheerful?
Exactly. I think based on your strategy, maybe you want to be a more premium type company based on how you're setting your marketing and sales prices, or maybe you want to get it flying out the door depending on how the market's reacting.
That's it. Let's have a look. So Mo is going to be what we call one of our team coaches today. And so he's going to be dipping in to selected teams as the games play out, make sure you're on track, see if you're doing something you've really gone badly wrong, and he'll get you back on track kind of thing. Now, we have some other team coaches today, and they are all top SAP people. So first of all, we have Ina Olsen, who is in Norway, joining us from Norway, and she is Partner Solutions Center Manager for the Nordic and Baltic states. We also have Christian Charbin, who's head of the SAP Move program in SAP France, joining us from France. And also we have Annabelle Ferrer, pre-sales expert with S/4HANA Cloud. So welcome to all three of you. If I can just throw a question to each one of you while you're there before we start. So Ina, what are the key things that people need to watch out for and get right?
Thank you, Sarah. And looking at my handsome colleagues in the studio, I will continue with the soccer. And it's like it's also in the end-to-end processes in the ERP world. It's also in the soccer. You're passing the ball from the goalkeeper to the defense, to the midfield, and to the striker, and then you have a goal, hopefully. And this is also, when you're doing the team ERP Sim game today, it's about also collaboration. All the roles are very important. So have an eye on the ball and collaborate together and have fun.
Fantastic advice. Yes, do remember to have fun, even though, of course, you've got to go all out to win and bring your A game. So Christian, joining us from France, what do you think are the key things people want to avoid getting wrong? What are the pitfalls?
Yeah, the same with football. In fact, it's timed, so it means that the time will pass, and don't forget that it goes very, very fast. You will see that you will have several rounds of 20 minutes. And during those 20 minutes, you will have the new SAP user experience of Fiori that will give you 360 view, 60 degrees view. Everything you will have great insight. You will see everything what's happening, but the competitors will have the same. So you will have to be careful to react quickly, because if you have real-time insight, if you have a lot of information, don't forget that your competitors have the same. So take the good decision, take them quickly to avoid shortage in terms of inventory, or to be with a too high price. That's my 2 cents.
That's your advice. Thank you very much for that. And finally, if we come to Annabelle, what tips do you have for the teams? And do you think it matters whether they've used this software before, or is it quite easy to use to get the hang of, would you say?
Well, you will see there are plenty of tips I can give you, but in the end, you require some basic skills which are somehow common to soccer as well. The first one is to remain curious and explore all information available before you take action. The second is to keep your eyes wide open and monitor any alert that pops up. And last but not least is teamwork. The more you will collaborate with your teammates and share information with them, the more accurate you will all be in taking decisions. So enjoy the game and have fun.
Exactly, have fun. We're definitely going to have fun in the studio here. So now it is time to introduce the teams. We've got a massive diversity of teams, haven't we? As we have in the studio, we've got all the different heights represented here, different levels of sportiness, different levels of appearance. So take a look at our teams. Now, the thing that you need to know about your teams is we've given each team a letter. From A to T. So take a note of which letter you are, because when we talk about Team A or Team B, you need to know which letter you are, even though you've given your team's names. So Team A is Implema in Sweden, and you are going to have Ina as your team coach, who will dip in and help you out. Team B is 2BM in Denmark. You will also have Ina, so they're all the Scandi kind of groups there. Team C is Alex's team from Spain. Now, this is a team of students, and you're going to have Mo helping you out. Very important that we do have the next generation of salespeople, IT experts, engineers, having a go and see if they can teach us older people a thing or two. Team Cosmo, which is Team D, also in Spain, also students, will also have Mo helping them. And Team E is the Delaware Wholesale Corporation in the UK, and they're going to have Mo too helping them out. So watch out for that. Team F is Equisoa, which is in France. It is a combination of Equinox and also SOA people. Those two companies there. Christian will be helping them out, also in France. So if you want to speak in French, then you are very welcome to. Team G, EY Sky in Norway, part of what we used to call Ernst & Young up until 2013, of course, and Ina will be looking after you in Norway. Team H is GLHF, which means good luck, have fun. Who knew? Probably the gamers amongst us did know that. And that team, Team H, are in Latvia, comprised of a Pearl Latvia team, and Christian is going to be helping you. They're one of SAP's partners, of course. Team I is the Lithuanian squad in, guess where, Lithuania, actually coming from IBM Lithuania, and Christian is going to be your kind of mentor. Team J is LRWY Consultancy in Spain, also students again at the EADA or EDA Business School in Barcelona. Annabelle is going to be your mentor and helper. Team K is NTT Data Business Solutions in Sweden. Christian will be helping you out. Team L is Team Proactive, drawn from the Pearl Group in Norway. Annabelle is your team coach. Team M is Rani Cyber in Finland, made up of the Cyber Consultancy and also Rani Plast, which is a packaging company. Ina will be your helper. Team N is Orchard House Solutions Consultants. Go for it, Orchard House. Make some noise. Right too. Mo is going to be your helper. And Team O is Fortico in Finland and Poland. They're straddling the two countries. And they're made up of a Fujitsu Finland people and also Fortico people, which is a steel fabrication company. Christian is going to be your mentor. Team P is Torrento in Sweden, a data digitalization company. Annabelle will be your team coach. Team Q is CMAC IT in the Netherlands. Annabelle will help you out. Team R is the Equalizers in Norway, which is made up of NTT Data Business Solutions, the company there. Mo is your mentor. And Team 19 is the Tech Collective from Denmark, which is an SAP consultancy. And Ina is going to be your mentor, so watch out for her. Team T, the last team, doesn't need a coach because Team T is Team Autonomous, which is the bots.
Yes. The bot team from the Intelligent Enterprise.
Yes. Do they need us? Do they not need us? We shall find out. Okay, so good luck to all of you different teams. I hope you're poised. You've got your cups of tea, you've got your coffee, and you are ready to go. So Ray, now, you are going to tell us how it works. Away you go.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon to our co-hosts. Hi. Very quickly, some of you have played the game before. The game has improved as SAP does over time, but we now have the Intelligent Enterprise game, so there's a lot more added features to the ERP Sim game. One of those added features is the analytics to look at where your competition stand and what your competitive pricing is looking to perform in the market.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
It, isn't it?
So one of the other things is a net promoter score. What do your customers think of you? Yeah, but more importantly, the game itself is a simulation game. It's a live SAP environment. It's what our customers do when they finally go live. Our partners know all about bringing our customers live, and they do so well. But often it's good to see what it's going to look like and how it's going to feel. So using the Fiori interface, what we're going to do is simulate that distribution company. And in looking at that whole emulation, you're going to play out key roles, and it's about still working together, and it's that communication, that teamwork, and that football spirit that we mentioned.
Show us what we're going to do.
So we start with 6,000 products. You have 1,000 of each, and the idea is to think about what is your strategy. Number one, you can't order any more products until round 2. Okay, we will then explain what that means and how we do that. But the key thing is in round 1 that we make sure that we can sell as much of that product as possible so we can understand the buying patterns from the customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, so round 1, essentially, you're just selling. So focus on setting your selling prices and focus on setting your marketing spend per product, per region. And as Ray said, there's that rough guidance of 1 to 3% of your daily revenue spend. We will cover introducing procurement for round 2.
Off you go. You're going to go 3, 2, 1. What are you going to do?
Well, I can't
Remarks?
see smiling faces. So
Yes, go.
I see a bit of excitement. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
There we go, Sarah. We are live. Round 1 has started.
Fantastic.
And we have had our first sales as well, which is very good.
Yes. Now, I tell you what I was going to ask you, but if you're busy, then just ignore me. If you played this 20 times, 20 different things would happen, right?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Would it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, the
absolutely.
chaos theory and the algorithms behind it make it such that the market can be quite unpredictable. It's never really the same. So the same team could play the game twice and would have very different results.
And they could have the same strategy, like I'll order this
Exactly.
much of this product and I'll price it at this, and different things could happen.
Exactly. Yes, it's all
Yes.
dependent on the customers out there and how
Yeah.
they feel. Who do they want to buy from?
Okay.
So at the moment, Team L is doing exceptionally well. They've made some changes. You can see we can look to see what those changes are. And if we literally just come out and see some of the activity, this is the other thing about the game. We can go in and see what people are doing.
Like minute by minute, who's done
minute
what?
by minute, we can go, or day by day, we can go and see what's happening. So we can see that marketing spend has been put on Team T. We can also see that marketing expenses have been changed in Team S. But we can also see price changes in Team L. And literally we can go through this and you can start to see their strategies coming together. And we'll have a chronological.
Some of these have got
mind of-
20 actions. Some of these have got 4
Absolutely.
actions, 2 actions in that team there, haven't they?
have.
So some people are maybe just still exploring. They don't quite know what should I be doing.
They're sense checking. I've played this a lot. I've facilitated a lot, and a lot of people will, if they've played before, they will look to see what others are doing. So they will tinker and see if they can, rifle the market.
Can you look at your competitors in this?
You can look at your competitors in that as well. They can.
Yes.
It's something we'll look at and we'll show them how to do, but let's not overpower them too soon.
No, but in real life, obviously, you wouldn't know how your competitors' things are selling.
These days you would.
Would you?
You would.
You
I mean, there's a lot of artificial intelligence out there that we mentioned earlier that is being used.
Regulations as well. That
Absolutely.
kind of force you to publicize certain
Is there?
bits of information.
Yeah.
Can I just talk about the bot?
Go ahead.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
We've got a bot team called Team Autonomous. Okay, so our intelligent enterprise is switched on, and we are using the SAP portfolio to run an automated team with 3 equivalent people, which are bots. And looking at that bot team, think about machine learning and AI. Yeah, it needs data.
Yeah.
So day one, there's not going to be much data. So at the moment, you can see Team T has tanked.
Because the
That's
thing
the
with the bot team, isn't it? It doesn't know that today is Ice Lolly Day.
No.
Everyone's going out to
Exactly.
buy Ice Lolly. It doesn't know that next weekend is Easter.
No.
Everyone wants chocolate Easter eggs. But it
Yeah.
does know next year and the year after, doesn't it? April's
It's
always
learning.
Easter.
Exactly.
Always learning, exactly.
We put the bot team on intermediate. Now, if we need to, we can turn that down if they're winning too much.
Okay.
But if they're losing, we can turn them up. We can make them very much a mastermind type
Yeah, so
team.
it's a couple of years down the line when they've been learning.
Exactly. And in fact, it happens in days.
So actually, why wouldn't companies just run things off bots?
Well, that's
They
a good question.
don't quite
That's
trust
a
it,
good
do they?
question.
Could be where we're heading, and then we're all out of a job, I guess.
That'd be it, yeah.
And that's the whole thing about digitization and moving to the cloud, of course.
Yes.
So, that is, we're fully behind that. That's what S4 brings to the table.
Yes.
And it's about what is your point of departure from where you were to where you want to be?
That's it.
It's-
That's it. Good.
It's about adding certain intelligent functionality to take away some of those repetitive and mundane tasks, which will allow companies to focus more strategically on more important
So
parts
we'll
of the
see
business.
a product running out and to reorder it.
I'm sorry to break in, but we've got a problem with Team Q.
This just
So let's just have a look at Team Q. They've stopped selling. So we want to work out why they've stopped selling. Interesting. The reason why Team Q, they have either incorrectly put marketing spend on, or they have currently spent 4,362 euros, or 300. It's changing as we speak, but they have spent a lot of money on marketing.
They've gone
So
down.
hence the reason why their profit has dropped massively. And
We
in
are
fact,
talking about you, Team Q.
we
Yes.
are indeed.
Done horribly wrong.
If we look at the leadership board, what we can see is, but it's started to pick up again. They've started selling. Look,
Yes.
we can start to see they've picked up.
Oh,
they are actually making a loss, but they're starting to find their way. So their team is starting to come together. However, if we just now go to Team T, which is the bot team, look at this. They've made some massive changes. If we look at Team C is the Alex team. They have leapt up. They've done something quite radical. They've probably changed their prices. They're students, yes.
Spanish students.
Our next generation is coming through.
I know what they're
And
doing.
they've gone from being almost 15th place, they've moved to nearly 10th. So the sales prices are changing. They are changing rapidly.
We're on day 13, so we're still
Day
7 more
13,
days to go.
fantastic.
in.
Let's see who is winning.
The red group.
Team N has suddenly just dropped.
N is Orchard House Solutions, UK.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
When I look at your profit, you've literally tanked from day 9. You started to spend money on marketing, and that's not done you any justice. You need marketing when you... Indeed. So whoever your team leader is, get your team strategy together and make sure that you're following the market. You can also look at the front page. You've got enough in your team to really annihilate the analytics and work out what's happening and come back together with a winning team. We've just seen a change of the leadership board as well. Looking at the change of the leadership, Team C has overtaken Team D. So we have the Alex team and the Cosmo team playing very well at the moment.
Spanish students teams, isn't
Indeed. So if we just go back to the main inventory screen of
Recording
all
in
of the
progress.
teams, what we can see is most people have stocked out. Most people have sold what they have. Those people that have stuff with stock on the shelves, that means that they will now be able to sell that because there'll be demand from others.
And actually, bearing in mind round one, you can't buy any new stock. Would you say day one, just put all the prices of everything up so then they'll sell slower?
They will sell
It's a good
slower.
strategy.
It's one strategy.
In
Yeah.
fact, we've seen that before where people had put a very high price and they didn't sell anything until the end when their competitors sold out, and they took advantage.
There you
and
go,
there
you
was
see.
more profit available to
Yeah,
them.
so a bit of a high risk strategy, do you think?
It's high risk. It can pay off well.
Or actually, bearing in mind, the customer's mentality or psychology, they'll think it's a better product because it's more expensive, won't they?
That's the premium strategy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
Indeed.
Just price it high.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we look at the bot team, Team Autonomous, Team T, they haven't sold all their product yet. They're still learning. They've still got a lot of product on the shelves.
Have they?
So they're either coming back for a last dash to win out, or in fact, let's have a look at where Team T are. Yeah, they've started to recover,
They have.
but they are nowhere near where they need to be yet. So I think as an intermediate team, they will come on great guns.
You start to see the bot team now are learning,
Yes.
and they're now on the rise. So I think as we enter into round 2,
So you can see here.
them.
Who's this poor lad who's gone all the way down
Well,
there?
that was our friends.
Orchard House
Oh.
Solutions Consultants.
Yes,
who we
oh,
dipped
so
They
that's-
into
haven't
before.
recovered, and
Yeah.
they're not.
They're now bottom, aren't they?
They're now bottom of the leagues.
Well, they've sold out.
Oh,
so
everything.
There's
So
not
there's
much
nothing
we
they
can
can
do at this
Not
point.
in this round.
Not
Indeed.
in this round. No.
Not in
Yes.
this round.
No.
Don't sell out too soon. Or maybe that was their strategy. Maybe we should ask them.
Exactly. Maybe it's deliberate.
Yeah.
Well,
They might try and style it out, won't they?
round
So, yeah.
1 is coming to an end.
My
So
goodness.
let's bring them back in, shall we?
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Let's
10
see
seconds,
what everyone thinks.
Can we get Team N on just to have a chat with Team N from, I think it was Orchard, just to have a chat with them? You stocked out very quickly. You sold out. Was that part of your strategy?
Now, who can we grab from? Are you captain then? Are you, Greg?
Hey, Greg.
No, Anish is captain, but I don't know if he's in the room. Oh, there he is.
I'm here, but you go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You can take the rap.
I think we had a miscalculation on marketing spend and sold out very quickly. And by the time that we came back into the public room, we think we understood what we were doing.
Would you agree with that assessment? From
I
having
would definitely, yeah. And I think you obviously you need a bit of training, but you realise that it's real time, right? So, but you stocked out early, so you've got to reorder quickly now in round 2 and start getting those sales going again at the right price. So you'll probably take a bit of time to pick up, but you are slightly trailing. But I'd like to also go to Team J. Team J.
LRWY Consultancy in Spain, the students at
Yeah,
the
here
business
is
school.
the Team J.
So Team J, you were doing so well up until day 10, and then you
Yeah,
started
because-
to. What happened?
Because we run out of stock and we didn't to buy new products timely, so that's why we.
Okay, so
yes,
So I think that's one of the big learnings for round 1 is you have a constraint.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a constraint. So don't go all out to sell too early. Maybe you want to sell late. So that's a lesson learned. Let's look at some of the meteoric rises we saw in the last 5 days. Team R. Sarah,
Wow,
Team
then.
R, the
Team R,
equalisers.
the equalisers in Norway, up in Norway, with Mo mentoring them, wasn't it? That was the plan.
Hi guys, what did you do? Something meteoric? Did you wait to sell? Were you latecomers to the market? What did you do? Suddenly drop your prices? What happened?
We waited. Our strategy was to wait a little bit in the beginning. So we held inventory because we knew we couldn't replenish before the next round. And we hope that we will see the prices rise when others went empty in their stock.
And did you
That was
actually
our strategy.
did you spend on marketing, guys, or did you hold back on the marketing spend?
We kept a low marketing budget in the beginning, but we saw that we got a bad score at the customers. So we had a little bit marketing in the background, even though we didn't sell much in the beginning. And then we raised the marketing as we saw the sale were catching up.
You
Yeah,
did
doing
do
really
really well, didn't you? Now, going into round 2, what can you do now that you couldn't do, or vice versa?
We're going to switch on procurement. Okay, that means you can reorder. For everybody that's stocked out of their 6,000 goods, items, they can now reorder. Okay, they can, but they have a 2-day lead time.
So as Ray said, round 2 now introduces the reordering process. So of course, in round 1, your focus was just to set your sales prices and your marketing spend. Now we want to reorder. So I'm in the system here. You would have obviously played around a little bit in the group of tiles around sales and around marketing. But if we scroll down past the finance section, we get to the planning and procurement set of applications. The second one in is the requirements and MRP, materials requirements planning. And this is where we can now start to use the system to reorder. So what the MRP run does is it looks at your current levels of inventory. It will look at the demand, and based on that delta, it will create a purchase requisition, which we can then turn into a purchase order and send off to the supplier. So here you can enter your requirements. Please keep in mind this little analytic at the bottom, because if you go over the 100% warehouse capacity, you will be charged, and that will be reflected on your balance sheet and P&L. Once you've entered your requirements, down the bottom right, you'll see execute MRP. Once this happens, you'll get a success message, and then that will effectively create your purchase requisitions. If we then come back to the main set of applications in the home page, the third tile in is where you can now manage these purchase requisitions. And from here, we then turn them into purchase orders. So either by selecting them individually or by this top checkbox here, selecting all of them, we can then use the create purchase order button on the top right. All of these purchase requisitions will then be converted in the system to a purchase order. It's very important that this next screen that we hit save in the bottom right. Quite often we see teams complaining of not receiving their orders. It's probably because you haven't clicked save. So if you do click save, then that is when it gets sent off to the suppliers. And then of course you do, if we go back again to the main set of applications on the home screen, you have yet another analytic which allows you to track those purchase orders to see when they're coming in. Of course, Ray mentioned a 2-day lead time on those purchase orders, so please keep that in mind. Anything else to add, Ray?
When you run MRP, it takes your current stock, nets off against the maximum stock that you can order without paying 3PL costs. So each of those items has 1,000 units. You can if your strategy is flood the market, then that may be your strategy. But remember, you're going to incur 100 euros per day on your bottom line in terms of those 3PL costs. So yeah, it's netting off. It's recommending to you what the best optimum. We talked, Sarah, about optimization of stock. It's getting that supply and demand right. So that's what SAP there is looking to try and help you do. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so we know about marketing, we know about sales, we're now reordering. Reordering is key. Anything can happen now, and I'm interested in seeing what the bots do. But it's also interesting to see that with reordering, it's that seamless supply and demand opportunity that we want to try and get right. So we're going to jump straight into round 2. So teams, without further ado, we will start the game. Over to you, Mo.
We are live.
We are going with the second round thing. So they continue from the other round, or yes?
Yes, exactly. So if there are teams that had stock left over from round 1, it will carry into round 2. So I guess they have an initial advantage because there is that 2-day lead time for those that need to reorder.
Yes. Good. And I suppose there's all sorts of different ways that people can attack it from, isn't it? Depends what their business is, would you say? Or would you say whether you're selling widgets or books or bananas, it's the same principles, or
principles
not?
Are the same. But are you? What is the policy, and what is your market you're selling to, and how optimally does that work?
Are those organic bananas or fair trade, or
do you want to only be in the market for the organic top premium things?
And that's one of the things you talked about organic. It's one of the things we're working on in the next game we're developing, which is around sustainability. So you've got top line, you've got bottom line, and we're looking at the green line. And that will be really exciting to see, because you'll want to be the most carbon neutral, but at the same time, you've still got to make money. So does it cost more to produce those products, or can you find the most optimal way of procuring them, manufacturing them to deliver to your customers? And that's what we're really out there in our next generation of solutions to deliver.
In this particular game, we're just looking at making the most money. We're not looking at being the greenest or having the lowest carbon.
No, at the moment we've got the dynamic. It's hard enough to try and work out in this day and age today to make money. And the margins in the area we're playing in are tight. They're tight, less than 2%.
Yes, in the real world.
Indeed.
Now, are you starting to get anything from round 2?
Let's have a look.
Should we go full screen?
Let's go full screen. Okay. Right. Oh my words. Team R has really started to do well. They are well on the ball.
That's the equalisers.
The equalisers in Norway. And then we are followed jointly by Team K and Team E.
Also NTT, but in Sweden, going for the
Team
Nordic
C
countries.
is no longer first; it's moved to fourth.
That's Alex's team, the
Indeed,
students.
and now looking at the bot team, is has accelerated, but not as much as we thought. So they're still learning. We've seen a lot of changes, and everybody except for Team Q. They're not doing so well. No, and also Team N haven't got off the bottom rung yet. They are still making a loss. So Team N,
House. Oh dear.
they haven't recovered. They obviously need to. Yeah, I think we've had 2 minutes of their first order. And if we look at inventory, you can start to see where all the inventory is and isn't. And in fact, even if you look at the bot team, the autonomous team, they've sold out. And you can start to see stock coming in and out as well, very quickly.
But surely a bot team shouldn't get down to zero stock, should they? Should they not?
Well, zero stock is at the optimum, isn't it? It's coming in and going out, just like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's digital. Yeah.
Digital, yeah.
There's no handling. So it's going straight onto the shelves. So if we look now, we could start to see Team R has really started to take off.
The equalisers. And we talk about the intelligent enterprise now, don't we? I mean, what does that mean to you? Is that the insights that the software will pull out for you? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's giving the information to those that need it, but it's making sure that the people are deployed. The human touch of the organisation is where the intelligence should be applying from getting the data and making sure it's continuous improvement. So, looking at the P&L, the profit and loss of the business as well, I just want to see who's spending money on
marketing. Are you thinking, or the warehousing? Has anyone actually incurred that €100 a day?
Well, let's have a look.
Let's have a look. See if someone over-ordered.
Warehousing costs.
Got overconfident.
Some have incurred. Team F, Team H.
That's Ekisoa and GLHF, Latvia. Ekisoa's in France. Sort of with S4HANA, you've got all your software and your data sources, all in a single space, haven't you? Just the one system. Yeah. How much of an advantage is that? Because how much time would you spend?
Recording in progress.
Well, you haven't got the overhead of having to support all those processes. And we mentioned users. There's now what we call digital access user. So where you're removing the people from the manual task of doing the loading or third-party tasks, we now have what we call a digital access user, and it's something that we need to make sure as many customers use as possible. Because if you don't need the people, you can repurpose them to a better job. You
can, yes, exactly. That's quite right. Yes.
What's interesting now, though, is there isn't any additional warehousing costs. Team F have 3 separate day occasions, and Team H, and Team H as well. They've incurred some costs, and so too have Team J. But they've only stepped over the mark a couple of times, so they've over-ordered. Or they haven't got their optimized strategy so that they can keep 6,000 units in play at any point in time.
Yeah. Does it kind of alert you that you're paying for extra warehousing now? Be careful,
it will do. When you're running MRP, it will net off against what you've got, look at the overall capacity you have, and if you go over 6,000, it gives you the message. Yeah. The other thing that they haven't seen and we haven't switched on for them, but they could see is the ticker screen across the top of the Fiori logon is the ability to get prompted from the bot store again, suggestions on what to do. So that could be, it's not just an email. Could be a sense check to your phone. It could be the fact that if you don't do this within a few hours, we'll do it for you. So you've got those types of things to.
And that happens in the real product in the real world.
It's starting to happen in the real world. Nice. It's starting to happen. It's some of the things that people want to change to from their old on-prem to their new cloud.
And that could be fully automated or assisted. So there's different levels of how much the bot can help you across the different lines of business. So whether it's within sales, marketing, or procurement, you could have that where you're working with the bots in an assisted fashion, or perhaps it's fully automated. So it just becomes a touchless system, which is what some companies are trying to achieve,
Yes.
especially for the
Just do it on its
repetitive
own.
tasks. Yeah.
Yes. Why not? Yes, definitely. Right. How long have they got
So
on this
we have
round?
seen Team N is starting to recover. They've optimized some of their pricing and their reordering so that the buyers are starting to see that they are in business again. And they're, I think, as we said, if Orchard can start to break even, we start to see some massive. This is a turnaround company now, and they've obviously had some advisors in, and they've been consulting themselves,
Yes.
and their strategy's changed. I'm sure
They've done something different.
I mean, but if you look at their profit and loss, you can start to see how they're starting to recover.
They bumped along the bottom there, and then
That's great.
they just soared, didn't they?
Indeed.
Good. They're doing something right.
Indeed.
The end of round 2 is approaching.
Right. Let's have a look.
Okay, so in reverse order, in 5th place we have Team G. If we look at Team G,
EY Sky, Norway.
and I think just look at the numbers, and the numbers speak for themselves. And you look at the margins, the gross margin, the net margin, and then you look at the total sales volume in revenue, and then you look at their cumulative net income. Remember I said it was cumulative over the 3 rounds. What we're seeing there is the difference between Team 9, even Team 10 and Team 1 is not that much. Anything can happen in the last round, as Mo was saying earlier. But the top 5, Team G, Team A, and
Infema,
yeah,
Sweden.
Team K, Team E, and Team R.
Delaware, and R is the equalisers, Norway, and NTT's other entry up in Norway. 2 Nordic entries there from NTT. So is it all to play with the Nordic?
It is. I mean, Mo was just saying, look at the total sales. They are so close. Now's the time to think about marketing and getting on the shelves so that people buy your product.
Yeah, if I look at the P&L here, there are quite a lot of teams with similar numbers of sales revenues here. However, when we look at the net income, there is a 10, 15K difference. So
let's look at the leadership board and just look at the last 5 days or 5-10 days and see who's made a recovery. Let's look at Team D. Team D, Cosmo.
Cosmo, the students from Spain. Let's see what.
Cosmo, you've not plateaued, but you've been on a learning cruise. What have you done?
I don't know. I think at the end we just lowered our prices just to get rid of all the stock. Probably that's why the increase in the last 2 days.
Okay,
pile them high, sell them cheap.
Well, is that your strategy?
Well, it wasn't at first, but I think at the end we just changed it a bit.
Okay.
So we basically ramp up our stock during most rounds, and during the last ones, we're just sort of like doing a sales process, basically.
Yeah.
If you see the item that's temporary, because it's each round it's over, right? It's kind of like sort of fiscal year end exercise. So if you have stock and you've been having stock for a couple rounds, then you just get rid of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's your unit price now? What have you gone down to? You say you're selling cheap.
Well, basically slightly lower than market, not necessarily really low.
But you're not selling under your buying cost or your manufacturing cost. You're not selling under that, no.
No, they're not.
No, of course not. Of course not. Because otherwise you can't make profit. You just can't make profit otherwise.
But you're making less profit but more volume. So that's what you're going for, no?
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
During the last days, yeah, but during the other, like the first 15 days, no, not necessary.
And as a team, what do you feel you could improve?
The coordination, maybe.
between the team members, you think? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite hard to follow the price market, the price of the market.
And does anyone have a dual role, whether you're looking at inventory and procurement, or
yes, yes, yeah. I'm looking at inventory procurement and I'm asking for prices and stuff like that.
Okay. Is someone specifically just doing marketing or looking at the competition?
We share the marketing and sales, and we have only one person for the procurement.
Okay. Excellent. Good. What do you find the hardest or the most difficult?
The fact that 1 minute is 1 day.
Goes quickly.
Goes quickly, yeah.
And it's only a game. Yes. But if we look at the end of round results now, it's a game where anyone from Team GG through to Team R in our list, we can see that anything can happen, and it probably will. So I think it's probably now time to switch on the rest of the game. Everybody knows how to order. Team N are back in business, and let's see and let the best team win.
Yeah, so Mo's going to start off round 3, are you?
I am. I'll send everybody to the breakout rooms and we'll get going straight away. Yeah. Good luck, everyone.
So, third round. What do we have to look out for?
So we're on day 40, over 60. Yeah? So to put it in context, day 40, they all have started to look at their reporting. They're looking at their pricing, and their prices will all be very similar. So it's now about optimizing the delivery time in line with that price. And because the prices are so close, marketing becomes more important in the third round.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
Mo, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I think round 1, it's new, right? They've never played the game before. Round 2, we're yet adding more concepts and processes. So I think they're quite focused on just executing those processes. Now that they know what they're doing and they're quite comfortable, they can start to explore some of the other analytics and insights available to them. And this will allow them to adjust their strategy even more than what they were doing previously.
Is there an element of don't look at what the competition are doing, run your race?
We did do that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't tell them. We turned off the leadership board in round 3.
Yes, so they can't see who's leading now. It'll be a nice surprise when we finish round 3. But yes, there are some teams that are so focused on what they're doing, they're not concerned with what their competitors are doing. But there are others who spend most of their time looking at the competitive analytics to give them that edge.
And would you say from a business point of view, which is the best approach of those two?
It's difficult to say in this particular game because, as I said before, the chaos theory and algorithms behind this game itself means that you can never really replicate the same results with the same strategy, with the same team.
And then more importantly, it's about the experience.
Yes.
Yeah? So it's about how they play that game and the memories they take with them so that they can use that anecdotally in the future.
That's it, yeah. Is this the whole 60 days? It keeps building on itself.
You'll see it. So it gets a little bit harder to see, but you can start to see here that Team E, Delaware has started to level off. You know, they've I won't say, you know, their strategy needs to change in order to leapfrog Team K. Team K is NTT Sweden. Yes. And then we look at the first team, Team R. Again, is the equalizers. They are still moving ahead.
Yes.
We have a crisis with Team O.
Team O, which is
where we are.
Team Fortico.
Team Fortico.
Christian, hi.
Yeah.
Team Fortico.
How you
You
doing?
asked me to come or
Yes, please.
Yes, of course.
To give some of your expertise to Team Fortico.
We've just seen Team Fortico make a massive loss. So something has happened. So what was that? A user error?
We spent too much money on marketing. We were thinking.
That lovely marketing story.
What is your? Anyway, we couldn't reach the position 1. That's why we want to be the last one. That was our strategy.
Let's now move to. Let's see if we can go into Team L. Are we able to go into Team L?
Now, Team L, you say, we haven't really visited them before, have we? Team Proactive, the Pearl Group in Norway.
They've started to, I mean, they're selling, but they've managed to
got Annabelle
lose out.
mentoring them.
So sales are still moving, but profit is being lost. What's the problem?
We went for market share, so we put down the prices.
I see, but you've realised that has an impact on your profit. Okay.
Because that was working for the Spanish team, that strategy, wasn't it?
That was working for the Spanish team. You're not alone. Team A also has done the same thing. They have, looking at, obviously the top 5, as we saw Sarah before, were very close. It's now the top 4, and Team A has dropped off as well, and has dropped down to probably 9th or 10th place. If we can go to Team A.
So we're going to Implema, is it? Team A, Sweden?
Yeah. Team A. Hello. Sorry to interrupt you. I know you're struggling on a profit cycle at the moment. What's happened?
Unfortunately, we had a mistake, so we managed to sell some of the bars for like 280 instead of 20.80.
I see. Pricing, huh?
Yeah, and
so
also
it's my bad. So I'm not sure what to say.
Okay. No, you know your problem. So let's go back to the full screen.
And of course, if you advertise something at a price, you've got to sell it at that price, haven't you?
Indeed, Sarah, indeed. And a price pledge. But that's going to impact their net promoter score as well, because now they're going to put their prices up. So the customers are going to say,
hang on a minute, it was £2 last week. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
So they've now leveled out. There's time to recover. So there's two teams in the running now, really. That's Team K.
Oh, let's have a look.
Team K.
NTT.
NTT and Team R.
The equaliser, NTT. It's all NTT,
and Team E is third.
Okay, so that's Delaware, UK.
Delaware.
Good bit of UK.
So that's good.
Yeah. So this was interesting. I just popped into Team C, which is the Alex team, to see how they were doing, and they weren't actually selling. Their prices were actually okay, very competitive, but their marketing was apparently too low. So I guess we have quite a lot of teams. It's quite competitive. So as soon as they started to increase the marketing, it started to sell. So
you can overspend on marketing, you can underspend.
Exactly. Yeah, we talked a lot about spending too much and being careful of that, but these guys, I guess took that too literally and
decided to let it go by word of mouth. How great their cereal was, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That didn't necessarily work, did it?
So let's just refresh. I mean, we're in day 8, day 9 now, and there is some clear margin now between first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Bot team is sixth, so
they're climbing.
They're climbing. So
even though you
start
set
to
them
train
at
the
the
bots.
intermediate,
Indeed,
yes.
They're learning though. They're learning.
You haven't secretly set them at a higher level.
I wish.
Yeah.
But hey, no, it's good to see. But also the others are tiring. There's only so many patterns that you can work on.
Yeah, the interesting one for me is Team A.
In Plema,
yeah, so I think it was around day 3 they plummeted, and then from day 4 onwards they've just plateaued at the 20k mark. So not
they
sure
are selling, but just not. Yeah, not
we
setting
can
the world on fire.
also start to see that round 3, as I said, marketing is becoming more prevalent as well. There's a lot more people spending because they're look, in one day somebody spent 14,000 euros, which is over a day's sales on marketing. So hence,
did it pay off though? So
no, it didn't. That's the one we picked up on Team O. So that was a human error. So
is everyone fairly? They've got into their groove now, haven't they?
They are
no
into
one's
their groove.
Streaking ahead or down. They're all kind of. Would you say?
Well, I'm just looking at the bot team to see whether the bot team has improved. Yes, it has, and probably the most best improvement is by the bot team in the third round because they've got more data to feed from.
The thing is, though, is the software suddenly going to serve them like a curveball? Like suddenly there's a drought and there's no oats, or or raisins or something. Is something going to happen? Do you know that? Could you put something in there?
That we're working on that. That's always the next one. We're working on that, and what we want to do is
expected the black swan.
No, in the new game, we're looking at carbon credits, the cost of carbon credits. So if carbon credit goes up or down based on buying, the prices will change and the bottom line will have an impact. So, yes. We can as well switch on levers here. We could have switched on levers for the team to say, I want to automate pricing, automate marketing, or reordering. But that would have caused turmoil in this current environment because they're all actively competitive.
That's it.
Should we drop into?
Should we go for?
Let's drop into Team M. M for Mother.
So that's Rani Cyber, Finland. Rani Cyber, is there anything any of you could say about how you think you're doing at the moment? Anyone from the team?
Yeah, I think we are lucky that it's not our daily business.
Are you finding it easy to use? Is it simple to understand the graphics? I mean, it's very visual, isn't it? It's very easy to understand.
Yeah, it is. It's easy to use, so that's the best part of it.
Fantastic. Well done, guys. Now we are into the last
Yes, thank you.
sprint, aren't
Good
we?
luck.
So if you can do a big push, guys, you've got a couple of minutes. Is it something like that?
That's right. Yes,
that
2
we've
days
got
left.
2 days, 2 minutes left. What can you affect in the last bit?
Recording in progress.
Well, it's difficult because of that 2-day lead time. So
You can't order anything more.
Exactly,
You could
so-
just suddenly have a fire sale, couldn't you?
You could. You
That's
But
one
don't.
way to
Is
do
that
it.
what you're
But don't,
saying?
because
But don't.
if you have a fire sale,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You're dropping your cost. You're dropping your profit.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're lowering your prices.
Yeah.
What's the game about? Making money.
Maximum
Making the most
profit.
money.
Maximum
If we
profit.
take the team that we were just in now, Rani Cyber, in fact, they had quite good sales revenues. It was quite even across the board with the other teams. However, their marketing spend was a little bit more. Their profit was only just in the plus, which means their prices were also quite low. So if they're spending quite a bit on marketing, but dropping their prices, then net profit's not as much as the other teams.
No.
So
Yeah.
it can work as a strategy, but today is a very competitive game with a lot of
It
different
is.
teams of strategies. So it didn't
Yeah.
work out for them on this occasion.
Yeah, at that top, everyone's bunched quite closely, aren't they?
Yes.
Those last few teams who are right at the top, and the numbers as well.
And what's interesting, if we just jump very quickly into the profit and loss statement on the full screen, please. What we can see in the third round is, although Team E has really done well in its profit because of the rounds before, the other two teams have managed to stay ahead. So it's been very tight. It's been very tight. But coming up towards the end, we won't announce the winner just yet, and nobody really knows what's happened. We turn the leadership board off.
So only we can see it.
Only we can see it, indeed.
Right.
So in the last 20 days, you can see that the strategies have really started to take off. It would be good to talk to Team F. Who is Team F? Because Team F made a Herculean profit.
Equisoa in France.
Equisoa. Let's get to them when they come on. Let's make sure that they're able to be interviewed, and then we can go back to the main lessons learned.
We can indeed once we've finished. Equisoa. I'm not sure whether you can hear us yet. Here in London, running the competition. Can you hear us, Equisoa team, who are Team F? Let's see if anyone can reply to us. Is it Julien? Can you hear us?
Yeah. I'm mute? No, I'm not. Can you hear me?
Oh, we
Yes,
can.
we
Yes.
can
How are
hear
things
you.
going for you? Do you think? What has worked for you? What has not worked?
We had a rough, hard, difficult beginning because we decided to hire Leo Messi to do marketing promotion, but it was very expensive and we did not sell enough cereal bars. But then we fired this Leo Messi. We told him to go back to his football club, and then no marketing cost anymore, and it worked pretty well.
He gave you a big push that then maybe there was a kind of
But
residual-
just looking at
looking at your numbers here, yes, which the guys are keeping a close eye on.
Great. Okay, so I think the game's finished. So hopefully we can all come back into the main studio. Is everybody there? Or are they coming in? They're coming in now. Look. So anybody like to start?
Yes, just chip
Some of the
in.
student teams, NTL, Orchard. Some of the learnings you had.
What was easy?
Yeah,
what
we
was
had a
difficult?
team O, we had a big learning team. So we spent a lot of money for marketing, and it seems it's not working.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that. We would love to say it at the beginning is marketing is really important when it's very competitive. At the beginning, it's not that competitive because you're trying to find your pricing. But towards the end of the third round, always marketing is key. But what a lot of people realize is they're not doing the calculation to work out the percentage of marketing per daily sales. So when you put in 100 or 1,000 euros, that has a massive impact if you're not selling anything on that day or you have zero stock. So it's really important that you're communicating that.
Balancing act, isn't it?
Exactly.
Real balancing
Yeah,
act.
that was our mistake. We wrongly calculated those percentages, and that's how it is. But anyway, I think we fell to last position, and now we are 17th or something. So we are really proud.
Oh, well done, guys. Would anyone else like to chip in with something you learned over the 3 rounds, something you got better at? Who would like to?
Yeah, so we're going to hear from Orchard. I think we had the opposite experience. We're not so proud. We struggled with the marketing calculation, and towards the end, I think we got our stock planning correct, but we just seemed to have days without sales where we really couldn't work out why. So we were looking at competitors' prices. We thought we had the balance right, but we seemed to go several days without any sales, and we still don't know why.
Do you think you've got a newfound respect for marketers, for the marketing department, because it's not that easy to get right?
No, what we've realised is that responsible for sales, we've got one person in our team responsible for sales. Our prices were good, our stock was good, so it's all his fault.
Yeah, I think quite right, yes. Just have the scapegoat and pin it on them. Definitely. I think that's the way to do it. Good.
So you were Team N, right?
Yes. That was Orchard House, yes.
Yes.
Team N, yes.
But you came 16th in the end, in round 3. So you didn't.
Not last.
Not last. No, not by far.
Considering where we were after round 1, having spent thousands on marketing.
You recouped that expenditure, didn't you? You pulled back a little.
We recovered something, so that's good.
Indeed. Okay. Well.
Oh, we're going to go for the big moment. I tell you what, I really hope that you have all had a good time. Would you say anything, Mo, a sort of final thought about how it went? What was the main mistakes you thought people were making?
I think typically what we see, and it was the case in this game, is that, round 1, you're just finding your feet, right? Round 2, there's additional functionality, and you're kind of focused on trying to get that reordering process correct. There's many steps involved. But by round 3, you know what you're doing, and it's more about, as you said, getting that balancing act right. And there were quite a lot of teams that were very up and down trying to get that right, but didn't quite get it in the end. I see here many teams had great sales revenue, in fact, but their marketing spend was a bit too high, and maybe their prices were a bit too low. What does that mean? A small net profit. So unfortunately for those teams, it didn't work out today, their strategy, but it was a very competitive game. I think really enjoyable from my end, and I hope everybody did have a great time.
Yes. Anything you noticed before we just announced the winner then? Go on. Any particular trends you would say people were getting right or getting wrong?
I think user error was responsible for quite a few other things, like marketing, as we said. Somebody put their prices down, they missed a 0 off. User error is still very important. And the bot team, which is interesting, because if we look at the top 5, if we'd let the bots let the bots work for the next 2 rounds, we would have seen the bots actually overtake the top 4. But the bots actually came 5th in the end after a slow start. So they were learning, and they came in really well because, there's no human intervention.
Thank you. Let us do the announcement, shall we? Because we cannot wait any longer.
Okay, so we already said Team 5 is the bot team. So well done, bot team.
5th place.
5th place. 4th place is Team L Pearl Proactive.
Well
done, guys.
Yes.
And the top 3, any guesses? Team E, Delaware.
Delaware, UK. Well done, Delaware.
Well done, guys.
That's bronze.
That's bronze. Silver, Team R, the Equalizers.
Equalizers in Norway, NTT. Well done, Team R.
Congratulations.
Silver.
And finally, ahead of the game, especially in the last round, is Team K, which is NTT in Sweden.
NTT Sweden.
Congratulations, guys.
For NTT, first and second attempt. Well done, guys. Well done. Prize? Have we said the prize?
We haven't, no.
It is a magnificent.
It is a magnificent trophy for the first. If we just put the
which you can have in the reception of your offices or whatever. That's just
so for the first team, which is NTT Sweden, you win the first prize. For the second and third prize, as runners-up, you win some SAP merchandise, which the organisers of this event will be forwarding on to you. And I think on that note,
we should say well done.
Well done.
Thank you to all our team coaches, to our co-hosts here. Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you so much.
And we will say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All the very
you.
best. Well done.
Thank you, guys.